clothes to drink. Now my brain's dead weight like that. Lost my keys, but don't give a shit. 'Cause tonight I can sleep when you sleep.
Hello lovebirds and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be talking about glitters and I'll be showing you how to do this glitter look. I want to say thank you to Hudson's Bay for always letting me roam their beauty department whenever I want and bringing brands like Anastasia and MAC Cosmetics and Urban Decay to just around the corner. So yeah, if you want to know how to wear glitter and if you want to know if I've answered your question in this YouTube tutorial, then please keep on watching. So I asked you guys on Instagram, what do you really want to know about glitter? And a few of those most asked questions I'm going to be answering throughout this video. So 3 examples: how to apply it, how to create less fallout or no fallout, and how to remove it. So I'm very, very excited to get started. I bought a really beautiful silver glitter, so let's get started. Now the first thing you want to keep in mind is that glitter is not so nice for the skin, so you need to give it a little bit of extra love. So I applied a moisturizing mask this morning and I'll be applying a little bit of Skin Oxygen, one of my favorites, to make sure that the skin is prepped and primed for glitter. Don't forget your décolletage. Alright, let's get on to base. So for this base I'm going to wear the TEINT IDOLE Ultra Wear in number 025, but I also have a 007 here on my desk. So what I usually do with foundations is buy 2 of everything, and I know that's not really an eco-friendly thing to do, but I noticed that my skin colour changes with the way I feel. So some days I'm a little bit paler because I don't feel as great, and some days I'm looking a little bit more flushed because I'm excited about something. So every single day my skin just looks a little different. So I want all of my foundations to be able to be mixed, if you catch my drift. I grabbed 1 pump of 025 and this is 005. I'll put a pump of that on there, and I hope you guys can see, but that is a slight difference. But very nice if you have skin like mine that just changes day to day. Let's see how it works if I just grab a little bit of both colours. That's actually really nice. So for this year's New Year's Eve, I'm actually going to Bangkok with my boyfriend because he is a DJ and he's going to be playing on a music festival this year and at the after party. And this is the absolute first time that I'll be joining him for a booking abroad that is not drivable. I'm really, really excited. I'm only going for 2 or 3 days, but I'm gonna go in with a buffing brush by Morphe because I feel like it blends a little better and it has a larger surface to work with, which is kind of nice. Foundation is done, so I've still got something left over on my hands. And I always keep baby wipes near to make sure that my hands are clean, especially when I'm wearing white. It's awful if you ruin a top right away. Now we do want our base to stay in place all night long, and it's going to be a long night for New Year's Eve, so I'm going to make sure that it stays in place with the Urban Decay All Nighter Concealer, and I'm using Fair Neutral at the moment because I am quite light. So with a fluffy brush I'm gonna make sure that the eye ridges are not shown. So I usually start in a place where I feel it needs most coverage and then blend it out gently. Now, one thing I like to do is give the concealer a little bit of time to dry and continue with a really thin second layer. Just dab that on. All done! Alright, now that the concealer is all done, it's time to revisit an old favourite of mine. And I'm going to be using the Chanel Poudre Libre, oh no, Poudre Universelle Libre, in 20 Clair, which is semi-translucent, and I'm going to use this to set the entire face. Because it is New Year's Eve, you're going to be sweaty, you're going to be dancing a lot, so we want it all to stay in place all night long. Take a little bit from the cap, press it into our powder puff, so rotate a little around, make sure it gets in between all of the fibres, and then when you've got that settled, you look up and you just press and roll to make sure it all stays in place. Now, this is not the amount of powder you would use to bake an entire face. We're not baking at the moment. We are just setting everything with powder. Now, setting your foundation and your concealer in place, you want to make sure to apply a good amount of pressure, because this is truly the trick for a makeup look to stay in place all night long, no matter what happens. It's not the crazy stuff with full face of baby powder and then dipping it in water. That doesn't work. Well, maybe it works, but it's so unnecessary. That is quite mad. Alright. Next product I am using is the new contour palette or sculpting palette by MAC Cosmetics, and this is one of those products that I get really excited about. So I'm going to be using the colour Taupe, which is the left one, this one, and I'll be using that with a very tiny sculpting brush to make sure that it really all goes into the hollow of the cheekbone, nowhere else.
How come the trees gets undressed when it's cold? And don't they miss the leaves they left behind? Could it be to make...
Once we've got that covered, we're going to go in with a blush and with a highlighter. So I'm going to be using Cocktail Party, oh no, it's Pink Passion. The Pink Passion Blush Trio by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I want to stay a little bit more on the cool side because we are using a, that's right, silver glitter pigment. So I'm gonna use the middle and the right one to get a little blush showing. It's sugar and it's rose, so rose, sugar. Don't want the face makeup to take up too much attention. It should all focus towards the eyes. So I like to keep it light, subtle, and dreamy.
When it's dark from so far away and show us where we are. It really makes me wonder.
Alright, I'm gonna save all of the highlight stuff for at the end. First up, I'm gonna start off with eyes and glitters and fun and sparkles, which are my favourite. So the first part is a black eye pencil. So I bought this little package from Urban Decay, and it is the Troublemaker set. So I've got the eye pencil here. And a black eye pencil is probably one of the few things that I always need to have in my personal kit, because a black eye pencil is the basis for most of my eye looks. So yes, let's get into it. Let's blacken out that eyelash line. you don't have to be super neat with this. You just want to make sure that all the black ends up in between the lash hairs as well. Now, one of those tricks, if you aren't sure that it's all getting in between the lash hairs, is by lifting up your eyelid and make sure that it's all placed nicely in there. You do want to work quite quickly with this, so you grab an angled brush. Let's see if we can find one this quick. I'm going to grab an angled brush and blend out the edges. Now, the second thing you want to do is make sure you wing it out, because we do want to look sexy on New Year's Eve, right? So I'm going to wing it out a little bit, and I don't really need to apply any extra product. I just need to make sure that I wipe off the brush in between and that I blend it out into a caddy shape. Now, if you do have hooded eyes, and if you have that fold going right into the area where you normally do your eyeliner, this is a really good way to do your eyeliner. You want to keep your eyes open while you're blending, so the shape goes nicely up. Alright, we're going on to my next favourite product. I bought the Moondust palette by Urban Decay. And these are the most shimmery eyeshadows I have ever seen. They're almost glitters, but not exactly. Okay, so I'm going to get to work with Galaxy first, because I want to incorporate a little bit of colour into this look. Not too much, but just a little bit. So with a flat eyeshadow brush, I'm going to pick up some of that eyeshadow and put it onto the areas where I have blended. Oh, that is pretty. Again, doesn't really have to be that neat, because we're going to go on top with glitter later on anyways. Just make sure that you've covered every part of that black you have applied in the first place. If you want to get into every nook and cranny, you might want to go back in with that angled brush to make sure you can work a little bit more precisely, like for the inner part of the eye. I'm going to go in with a very tiny blending brush, pick up a tiny bit of product and blend it out upwards. So you want that intensity to be right at that lash line and soften it up upwards. The next colour we are using is the colour Granite. This colour. I'm going to pick up some with that same little shader brush and blend it into the center of your moving lid. To make sure we don't lose any colour, I'm going to apply a little bit more of that Galaxy shadow in the outer corners. Don't apply anything on the lower lash line just yet. I just want to see how this plays out before I decide what to do on the lower lash line, because I do like how it gives me like a facelift kind of effect. So we're just going to go in with glitter. Now, one of the questions you guys asked me about glitter is how in the hell do you apply it neatly without any fallout or without everything being covered in glitters? And that is, one, if you want to have a precise application, you use a tiny brush to apply it with. Wet the brush in beforehand so it picks up the glitter really nicely, and then apply it in a very, very tight line. Now, for me, I do love abundance, so I usually tend to grab my middle finger or my ring finger, because they have this nice little pillow on top, and I use those to apply my glitter with, and you can apply a little bit of pressure, which is kind of nice. Now, the products I use to apply my glitters with is, most of the time, Duo eyelash glue, because we don't have any fallout, they stay together really, really nicely, and it makes the removal process quite easy, because if you get a little edge of that eyelash glue, you can just rip off most of the glitters in one go. So let's do that. Now, the glitters I've picked for this tutorial is the MAC Platinum, which is a silver glitter that reflects so hard. So we're going to be using that one and a little bit of eyelash glue. So I apply a little bit on my hand, just a little dot, because we don't need much. We don't want to have a cake layer full of glitters. But I'm going to apply it a little bit, then just make sure there's enough on my finger to dab onto the eyelid. I'm going to grab my mirror again, and then start into center and just dab it outwards a little bit. It will fuck up your eyeshadow just a tiny bit, but if you apply enough glitter on top, no one's gonna see that. So once I've applied enough of that, I'm gonna grab my glitters, and it is nice to have a little bit of a pot or a pan or something like a surface to put your glitter on. So I'm doing that right now. Dip my finger in there and just press on the glitters. And I already told you I like abundance, so I blend it out quite far up, right up to that brow bone, because, you know, in daylight glitter will reflect everywhere because there is light everywhere, but if you are out or going out, you need the right light to hit you in the right spot to have a slight reflection. So I usually go a little bit bolder with my nighttime looks. Okay, now that we have applied the glitters, I have decided that I do want that lower lash line a little bit accentuated, because otherwise it looks like it just pulls everything up a little too much. So I'm going to apply a little bit of that eye pencil, but not on the waterline, not yet at least. Apply it halfway through so it doesn't close off the eye area. Grab my angled brush again because it fits the under eye area very, very nicely. And blend that out to connect with the top lash line. Now, with the tiniest blending brush you can find in your personal kit, I'm going to grab a little bit of the Galaxy color again that we also use on the top lid, and apply a little bit of shadow right on top of that black. Because it looks like it stops halfway through, I'm just going to grab a little bit of that Granite one, which is more silvery, and blend it towards the inner corner of the eye. I work messy, so I've always got a little bit of painter's tape, I think, And what I'm going to do is pick up everything in terms of fallout really, really gently by wrapping it around my fingers and just tap the skin nice and gently so you don't pick up anything like your base, your foundation, but just the loose glitters and pigments that have fallen downwards, so your base stays looking clean. Alright, mascara time. So I bought the Urban Decay Troublemaker, and that is what I'll be using for today's makeup. So let's curl my lashes. You could always choose to wear falsies for a night like this, but I know myself, halfway through the night I feel like they're itchy and I don't want to wear them anymore, so I'm just going to go for a very thick layer of mascara. And what I love about this mascara is that the wand is actually a little shorter than other ones, so you can get into every nook and cranny very, very easily. Time for the bottom lashes. You want to be careful with this stuff. Because this whole makeup look is already quite hefty, I want to go in with a lip colour that is not as dramatic as the rest. So I have chosen to go for the Lancôme, what's it called again? The Lancôme Juicy Shaker in 301. Because it's a lip oil, it's easy to eat and to drink with, it's not something that you're gonna have to be touching up all night long, so I think practical for nights like these. This really smells good. There you go. I'm going to use the Liquid Glow by Anastasia Beverly Hills in Oyster, which is a little bit more peachy in colour, peachy gold. And I'm just going to apply that with my hands. So I rub it all over, and then with these 3 fingers, I'm just going to gently tap the high point of my cheekbone to get a soft glow. Before I forget, a little bit of the Clear Brow Gel by Anastasia. And I know it's kind of frustrating because I am not doing brows, so it might be a little bit more difficult to get a read on how this will look. But if you want to see, I do have a full brow tutorial on my YouTube page, so I'll link it below. I don't even know how to do that, but I'll try to link it below or in the description box. Finish off this makeup, I'm going to use a little bit of the Fix Plus Pinklite, which is a beautiful setting spray with like a stroke cream mixed into it, and you use this on the outer perimeter of the face because I do want to keep the center a little bit more matte. So I'm going to block off a little part of my face. Get that all to melt together. This is it, you guys. The end of the tutorial. I want to say thank you for watching and sticking around this long with me because I have a feeling this was a very long tutorial. Next to that, I want to say thank you to Hudson's Bay again for challenging me to do something so much fun and so appropriate for this time of year. I will be back next year. and I'll try to do my best. Well, no, I'll try to create more YouTube videos for you guys, because it actually is a lot of fun, and I think I put a little bit too much pressure on actually creating these videos, because I am a perfectionist, I am an Aquarius, and that is in my nature. But yes, for next year, one of my goals is to do a little bit more on YouTube and a little bit in a very casual form. So please let me know your thoughts. And I want to say happy new year. I hope you go out with a bang and leave 2018 behind and start 2019 with a lot of energy and a lot of fun. So thank you so much for watching and sticking around with me. I'll see you guys next year. Bye bye! Ha! You thought it was over, but it isn't. Bonus material. Okay, you guys have posted questions on my Instagram, and I'm gonna do my best to answer them for you now. So, let me see. Do you prefer loose pigments or liquid glitters? I do prefer a loose pigment because it gives me a little bit more options. I can mix it with a cream, or I can just place it in a very tight line, which I don't really feel like I have the option with liquid glitters. I wanna have the possibility to really intensify specific areas while it's a little bit more sparse in different areas. Would you ever put glitter on your eyebrows for a dramatic look? Yes, and I've actually shown up to work with a glitter brow before. I think it's probably 2 years ago that I did a glitter brow, and I showed up to work and everybody thought it was really funny. What do you do when some glitter pots or containers start to leak? Depot? Question mark. Yes, depot them. It's very easy to find a little jar, for example on AliExpress, on eBay, on Amazon. You can find different kind of jars, and especially I do prefer the ones with a sifter and with a screw cap. So whatever happens, there's like double security. Fine or chunky glitter? Well, it really depends on where you want to wear your glitter look to, and if you want to have it done in a very organic kind of feel, like I have done today. I feel that this is more of an organic shape. Or if you want to do a very tight eyeliner with the glitters pressed on top. So for tighter shapes, I go for a finer glitter because it's easier to stay within a specific area. And if I do a very organic look, then it might be really nice to go for a hologram or a holographic glitter, because they're a little bit more big, they're a little bit more chunky, and they catch the light really nicely. So probably holographic ones for, oh well, night or day, who cares, I love glitter. What to do that it doesn't get cracked and then that it stays longer? Well, I think it depends on how much adhesive you apply to a specific area. So if you put on a very thick layer of eyelash glue, for example, then it will probably crack a lot sooner. And it also depends on how much glitter you apply to that specific area. So if you apply a very thick layer, it will probably look a little bit more cracked instead of a stunning shimmer all over the eye, for example. What's the best product to use to help it stick or stay in place? Well, I really love eyelash glue, because if you put a thick layer of eyelash glue on, you can just peel it off, which is really nice. You also have an Anastasia glitter adhesive, for example, which is perfect. It's a lot thinner, and it's really nice to mix it with the glitter and then stick it on. Other ones? Yeah, if you don't like adhesives that much, you can also use a little bit of fat, like a little bit of grease to stick the glitters on. How can I use it on a daily basis? Well, I think, you know, I don't like to see the glitter cut crease look. That is not for me. But if you just want that little hint of shimmer, you can just press just a few glitters onto the center part of the lid, for example, just to get a little bit of extra dimension. And if you're like me, you just wear it however you want and just go out with it. How to get it on without getting everything around me up in glitter. So one of the things I really like to keep on hand is a metallic plate to put things like this on, so it doesn't just move around and spread out like a virus, because then you will have a hard time to get it off everything. Your other best friend is a spatula, so you can really pick up exactly what you need, and Scotch tape, because even if it does get everywhere, you can just clean it up with Scotch tape or a lint roller, which is really nice as well. Eco glitters, are there any on the market? Yes, obviously there are a lot of biodegradable glitters, but please note that even biodegradable glitters take at least 3 months, and that is in the best conditions, to degrade in nature. So just make sure you clean up your glitters really, really well. Can I cause blindness? Yes, you can, if you don't use cosmetic glitters, for example, because you have those craft glitters, and if you use those and one actually gets into your eye, they are usually made out of plastics, metallics and glass, and you do not want that ending up in your eye. So please, if you're going to go for an eye look, please use cosmetic glitters. Okay, this one's nice. How the hell do I get it off? This is one of the most important things I wanted to tell you guys, how to remove glitters. Most glitters are not biodegradable, and please be aware of that. If you place your face over the sink and start rinsing it off with water, it's going to end up in our water system, and where does that end up? In the ocean. And fish usually think it is prey, so they eat the glitters, and that will cause them to die. So one of the things you really need to keep on hand is Scotch tape, and you can just gently press it on all the glitters you've placed on your face and remove them very, very slightly to make sure that it ends up in your plastic trash instead of in your water system. Do you have a certain colour of glitter that you continuously come across in your home? Well, as of today, because I dropped my jar, I will find silver glitter everywhere. Rhetorical question, can you ever have too much glitter? No, you can't, not in my book. But I do feel that glitter placement is quite important. So you do not want to have a glitter eye and a glitter lip and glitter nails and. So try to figure out where you want to place your glitters and stick to that area. And it can be big. I mean, I can do even more glitters than this, and I probably will on New Year's Eve. But then don't do a very glittery lip. Just have your focal point, and I think in that way glitter always looks nice. Best glitter brand. So I am a big fan of MAC Cosmetics glitters, because they have a really wide variety of specific glitters in different kind of textures. So I really love the holographic glitters, for example, and they really reflect like none other. Now, if you are looking on a more budget version of things, then you might want to take a look at NYX Cosmetics for really nice glitters, and they actually have a glitter pack which is quite affordable. And one thing I still really have my eye on are the lemon head glitters, but to order those I might have to reach deep into my pocket, because import costs are really high in Holland.